Hello and welcome to the only ever LinkedIn ad tutorial you'll ever need to watch. So I've run LinkedIn ads for over 10 years now, and in this video I'm going to take you through absolutely everything you need to know to make LinkedIn ads one of your most successful B2B marketing activities. We'll be going through, first and foremost, how you can set up your account, then how you can set up your insight tag, your best campaign structure to make sure you have success now and in the future, the best campaign objectives and the ones that you should avoid, more importantly, how you can target the right people without wasting ad spend and how you can check this, all with different ad creative types, how you can set up your conversion tracking, the 3 different ways through online, offline, and LinkedIn's own revenue attribution, the best bidding models you should be using, and a little bit behind how the auction works, what the dashboard looks like after launching your campaign and how you can go and see what the data is telling you, and then finally how you can set up remarketing audiences after that so you can remarket to those who have previously engaged with your campaigns. And throughout, I'll be showing you a lot of the biggest beginner mistakes you can avoid to make sure you don't waste a lot of time and a lot of money. And I'll also be showing you some advanced things like how you can use things like signals to set up your sales team for success if they're doing any outbound activity based on your inbound efforts, which a lot of B2B brands are. So after this video, you'll hopefully know a lot more than 99% of people about LinkedIn ads. But first off, for those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, my name is Ben and my company Session Media has managed over 100 B2B brands LinkedIn ad accounts, which have ranged all the way from £500 a month all the way up to £500,000 per month. We've built 3 different LinkedIn ad pieces of software, and I do own a pair of LinkedIn socks. So yeah, it's safe to say I'm a little bit obsessed with LinkedIn ads. And if you do stay to the end, I'm actually going to be giving away a piece of LinkedIn ads software for free, which will be coming up very, very soon. Right, so hopefully I've got your interest. Let's get into the video. Right, so first and foremost, if you don't know where to go and set up an account, you can literally just go into Google and type in LinkedIn ads and go and click on the LinkedIn ads. It'll take you through to this homepage. You can also go on linkedin.com/ads, and that'll take you through to this page here. So if you don't already have an ad account created, you just go on create ad. And if you already have an account, it'll take you straight through. But if you don't, you can go here on your profile and click on create account. Call this one YouTube test, and you can click your currency that you want to go after. And then for now, let's do Session Media as our company page here. So you can go here, click agree to the terms and conditions and click save. And once you've done that, it will take you through to a page like this where you can see new campaign group here, and there's nothing else set up at all. You then want to make sure you initially go into account settings and go on billing and make sure you associate a card. So when you do actually create your campaigns, they're ready to go live. Great, so now we've set up this account. First and foremost, we want to go install the insight tag. So if we go on to measurement, insights, and go on to manage sources, we can see here, we can install our insight tag. So create insight tag here. And if we scroll down, you can say, I'll use Google Tag Manager and click on proceed. And at the moment you can see it's unverified because we haven't installed it yet. So you can obviously you can go and install this in your header here, this insight tag within WordPress or Webflow or whatever website you're using. You can go and do it in the back end of the site or inject it via FTP or whatever it is you want to do. I'm not going to go into that too much today, but most people go and do it via Tag Manager. So you can see here you have a partner ID through Tag Manager. So if you click on this and you copy it, and then you want to go in over to Tag Manager. So then your tags, click on new, and we can call it whatever you want, like LinkedIn Insights tag, and configure tag. Now within here, you can see they have a LinkedIn one already, the LinkedIn Insights, and then they also have a LinkedIn Insight Tag 2.0. I recommend using the 2.0. What will typically happen is sometimes you have to go and import this from the gallery, because this one's going to be sunsetted soon, but this isn't in there automatically. You have to go and import it in. So you go on the gallery here and type in LinkedIn Insight Tag 2.0. And then when that comes up, it'll give the option to go and import that into one of your custom tags you have here. Obviously you can see down here. So if you go into LinkedIn 2.0, as you can see, I've added it already. All we have to do is go and click on here and then click on add. It's already been pulled through for me, which is great. But it also gives you options for later for some more advanced tracking bits. But what you can see here is I've already got that downloaded. So if I again go and click, type in LinkedIn, Insight Tag 2, I can just add that there. And then what I can do is I can go and install this insight tag on my website here. So once we put the insight tag in here, we then just go and put all pages. And then we click save. And then once you've saved it, you can then go and publish it submit, and then you can publish. Obviously you can save it however you like. So now that's on the site, you can go and obviously do the debugging checks. Again, I've done lots of videos around how to use Tag Manager, so go and check that out through that way and make sure it's working. So if we go back over, we'll then be able to go into Signals Manager, click on dismiss, and it still says unverified. If we give it a couple of minutes, so later in this video I'll come back to this, we can make sure that it starts actually picking up the data as soon as it has the first time it's been triggered on our website. Okay, cool. So we've got the insight tag up and running, which is a very key fundamental bit of what we want to do. We want to get that up and running as soon as possible, really. And I'll get into the reason why that is a bit later on. So now let's get into the meat of it and go and create a campaign. Now, if we go into advertise, you can see at the top here, we have something called campaign groups, we have campaigns, and we have ads. Now this works in a hierarchy, as you can see on this diagram we've got here. And at the top, we have campaign groups. This is really where I like to do all my segmentation and initiatives, which I'll get onto in a minute. This level here, which is the campaigns, which is where I like to do my targeting. So actually where you can go and choose who you're going to target, the firmographics, where you're going to choose the types of creative, and bidding model as well. So a lot of the work is going to be done in the campaign level. Campaign groups just help you to make it neat. And then the test of the creative at the bottom of the ad section is obviously where you're going to be testing your different ad types. But these different ad types for each campaign needs to be the same type of ad creative. You can't have like static images and videos within the same campaign. They have to be separate campaigns. So as an example, how I would name these different levels would be campaign groups. You'd have something like what your objective is going to be, or what it's going to be like first touch. It's going to be then the job title you're going to go after. So in this case, it'll be going after senior marketing managers and marketing directors. It'll be targeting software development, so what industry you're targeting, and then what location, like the UK, for example. Now this really depends on your strategy, because for us, we have different people we're looking to target within the same industry. So we're going after software development industry. We're going to target people who are different seniorities. We're going to target one that's around CEOs. We're going to target one that's for our paid media offering, one for our SEO offering. So we segment it like that. We'll also have different campaign groups for like ABM or recruitment or events. So it's very much about having a very top line, clear idea of being able to keep the data neat from a very top level. We then go into the campaign naming structure, and what we'd then do would be we'd name it, we'd do a short acronym of like the previous campaign group, mainly because when you try and see campaigns, you can't always see the campaign group that it's in whilst you're seeing it. It's a bit of a limitation from LinkedIn ads. So for example, if we're doing like first touch in your marketers, it'd be like FT, SM. So when we're doing certain overlays and views, when we're reporting, we can see it very clearly. We then say in this like objective type, which I'll get onto. The creative types, is it going to be a video image, which I'll get onto more, and then any sub-segments we're going under. And then obviously you have your ads and you can name them accordingly, which version it is, what type of creative you're going after and whatnot. This will all start to make a lot more sense. We come into it, but very broadly, you can set budgets at campaign group level as well. We don't recommend doing that. It's the same with objective. We recommend having the most control over at your campaign level. So campaign groups are really where you house your different initiatives and segments. Campaign level is where you do your targeting and bidding. And then ads is really when you test your different ad creative underneath the campaign level. But that will come crystal clear throughout this. So let's create a new campaign group. And like we said, let's go and call it something like first touch. So it's the first time people are going to see our audience. Marketing managers for software development. And then let's just call it UK. So this would be like a broad, easy naming convention that you can go and look at and understand exactly who we're targeting. Like we mentioned, they try and get you to turn your group objective on. I don't like doing that, so I turn it off. Otherwise, you have to create more campaign groups than I like doing. So I turn that off, and then I'll have it to run continuously. We can then click in this, and then within the campaign group, we can create a campaign. And this is where it starts to get fun. Like I mentioned, this is where the bulk of the targeting, bidding, and creative choosing comes in. Before we go through, let's go and look at all the different types of objectives you could go after. First off, we have the brand objective, which is best for reach. It primarily works on a CPM model, which is cost per milli, which is ultimately how much it costs you to reach 1,000 people. Now, this is good if you want to get the most reach possible. It's also actually really good because they've recently rolled out frequency capping. And frequency capping is where you can choose to say, show your audience only your ad 3 times per week, which is the minimum for this frequency capping, which is good. Again, it's a lot of actors. People may be really active and you could be serving it quite a lot of times to the same people, which then obviously creates ad fatigue. It becomes, less effective. More and more people see it. So you could be wasting ad budget. So it's really good for reach and managing it from that level. Website clicks here, obviously the best for if you want to drive people to your website. Again, they're very expensive, these CPCs, compared to other models, but it does actually guarantee someone clicks through to your site. So depending on the type of campaign and the objective of the campaign you're going after, the overriding objective of the campaign you want to achieve from this, you can use website clicks. You then have engagement. This is probably one of my favorites, along with the brand awareness objective. It's because when someone clicks on your ad, like the see more button, or looks to see the comments, or clicks through to your landing page, if you have really good engagement as well, you can make it quite a lot cheaper for people to click through to your landing page, versus using like website visits, for example. And then video views is very similar to engagements, but actually getting it just for optimizing and paying for how many people actually start watching your video, versus if you did a video and it was people, you're just paying for people that clicked on see more or the comments, for example. We then have lead generation. Now, lead generation, one of the more expensive ones. This is when you associate a lead gen form to your campaign. So you probably know when you're on LinkedIn, you click a button and the lead gen form comes at the bottom, so it pops up. So rather than going to like a website, or it's staying within the app itself, or staying within the LinkedIn app itself, it'll pull you up to this one little pop-ups so you can go and fill it out. Typically you see it used for like event registrations or ebook downloads or something. It's typically quite expensive because they're trying to make you pay for the convenience of doing so. Typically not one of my favorites, but you can integrate it straight to your CRM, and people do seem to like it for the quantifiability. And then website conversions, I typically will never use this, mainly because of how the relevancy score works, which I won't get too much into this video, but I'll create a few different videos of exactly how the LinkedIn ad auction works and relevancy score works. But ultimately, there's a sum in there, which is how likely someone is to complete your objective that you set. And obviously a website conversion is probably one of the least likely they're going to do compared to engage or brand awareness. So it makes it quite expensive, and compared to other platforms, it's not as advanced in actually being able to find the best buyers for you. It's quite primitive in that sense, compared to like Facebook, who has all this behavioral data and psychographic data on you, compared to LinkedIn, who doesn't collect that or have that as much. It's more firmographic based. And obviously job applications and talent leads, which are for when you actually go and do hiring through this. But there's different ways I like to do that anyway. But so let's keep it more lead gen today. There's also a few other nuances to understand. If you want to run thought leadership ads compared to company page ads, so thought leadership ads are the ones that you run through your personal account versus running through your company page. You can only use brand awareness and engagement objective. You can't use like website visits or lead gen, for example. So you really need to understand what creative you're running, what your objective is overall, from like where you want the person to go or you want the piece of creative to achieve, and then you can select one of these. But yeah, if you're not sure, I'd just go for engagement to start with, then move forward. Brand awareness, again, is the only one if you want to use connective TV ads, which is when you want to go and get it to appear on ads, which is only available in the US, but will be in EMEA soon. That will allow you to choose the LinkedIn audience network you have to do it from. So enough around this. Ultimately, I'd go and click on one of these and then go to check to see if your creative is still there. But let's use engagement for now, because that's the one where the vast majority of them are there. So if you go next, this is one of the big mistakes as well that we see people make, where Accelerate is a new thing that LinkedIn ad is pushing. It's pretty much their AI tool. I've done a whole video, which is in the playlist, which I'll link to at the end, where I have like 30 odd videos around LinkedIn ads. You don't want to click on Accelerate because they'll go and create the campaign for you, and the targeting will be broad, and it'll be a lot of wasted in there. Trust me, we've tried it. It's like test campaigns. So go on to Classic. There's quite a lot of these things throughout the video that will try and trip you up. So we'll keep you looped in those as well. Okay, cool. So let's go, and we've done that. So let's go add a campaign. So we can see here, let's go naming convention it. What did we say earlier? Call it first touch, senior marketers. What do we say? Software development, UK. And then we've now got engagement, and we'll keep filling this out as we go along. But as you can see, you want to make sure you have a really clear naming convention. So when you're testing side by side, you know what you're testing, and you can actually have a really good top-down view of everything without being like, oh, what does campaign 1 mean or test campaign mean? It's really boring, but it's a really good way of keeping it all together. So we scroll down, again, you can skip this. You can kind of use an AI tool to do it, but we don't use that. You can also use save audiences, and these are the ones that you'd save from earlier on, which you can reuse and make it easier. But for now, let's do United Kingdom. Oh, and just a point here as well, as we didn't change the location, if you are doing specific location settings, you can see here, United Kingdom was attached by default for us. What we want to do is click on this little drop down and go on permanent location versus recent or permanent location, because it sometimes may pull people outside the country. And if you're targeting people that you just need to be inside the country and that's your ICP, then you can do that and do permanent location there. And all the different audience attributes. So you can target people by company, and within company, it's company category. You can target companies by who they're connected with, who they're followers of what company, the growth rate of the company, which is really interesting when you're doing certain things, the company industry, company names, revenue, company size. From demographics, you can do member age, member gender. It's not something that we ever really do within LinkedIn. Education, you can target people with certain degrees, fields of study, and members of what schools. Job experience, you can target job functions, seniorities, job titles, member skill, which is when people endorse you for different skills and years of experience. And you have interests. Member traits are quite interesting because it's things like, I don't know, if someone is open to work or open to relocating, it could be essentially people that you remove from your campaign if people need to have a current job, for you looking to target people for it to be more effective. So in this, you can obviously go through and do different ways, and within the audience itself, you can do list uploads, lookalikes, retargeting third party. I'll get onto that at the end when we go through and create these audiences and then how we can target them. But for the first touch, let's just go through and say we're not going to do an ABM list. We're just going to say we're going to go after company industries, which is our, like we mentioned, software development. We are going to then do, you can do anything you want in this, from a targeting perspective, but let's say we're going to do company size. I'm going to target companies that are 11 to 50 and 51 to 200. Well, okay, I'm actually going to stop myself there because at the end, when I was doing my checks, and I'll get on to, you'll see it later in the video, I realized I'd actually made a mistake at this part because for some reason I can't seem to speak and think clearly at the same time. So if you look at the screen here, this is one of the big common mistakes you'll see as well. At the top, we'll see company industries, software development, and next one, company size. It's an or, not an and. This was supposed to be an and when I was doing it in my head. So what I'm doing here is saying software development as an industry or this company size. So I was looking at these numbers as I was going through and I was like, that doesn't seem right. The numbers seem way too big, but obviously can't multitask. So I carried on, and when I was doing my checks at the end, it clocked, and I was like, I could redo the whole video, or I could just do this and pull out. So here I am pulling out. So rather than doing it within the same segment, which is an or, you can click on narrow and then it will do an and as well, which is obviously in 99% of the cases what you want to do. When we go through the checks later on and do it, and right at the end of the video, before I get into the free software, I actually show you a really cool way, and it was pulling up companies like Fiverr, and I was like, Fiverr is a massive company. They're not these small companies here. That's obviously because I put an or statement because it was software development. Obviously, I didn't then attach it to an associated size. You can lose a lot of money from doing this, which is why doing the checks afterwards are super, super important. Right, back to the video. Let's narrow it a little bit more and go on to marketing managers. So like marketing manager with the job title in here. So that's 75,000. And then you can really narrow it more and more down as you go. So on the top right hand side, you can go and see here, marketing function. As you can see here, function, marketing primarily. You can then see seniority. So senior, manager, entry. This one's an interesting one because you can go and exclude entry, but these sometimes can be, say, if they have a role that they're volunteering somewhere else, it may then show that as entry. And then if you do then go and exclude them, it will then exclude this marketing manager that you're actually going after. So you can go and exclude them, but we typically like to see what job titles are getting pulled through first and foremost. Also owner, they may have their own sort of like side. They might run an Etsy store and be an owner of that, as well as a marketing manager at a software company. So years of experience, you can see the average years of experience, company size. Again, we didn't target 1,000, 5,000, but maybe they're like registered at the University of Portsmouth, like myself. I'm a board member at the University of Portsmouth for their marketing curriculum. So obviously I'd kind of be under this as well. So if you excluded that from and did a negative, which a lot of people like to do, you'd be excluding me as well. So I would just leave that out for now. So you can go through and say if you definitely don't want to target people in certain industries or certain sectors, you can go and then exclude. So most cases I'd go and exclude specific job titles. So if you don't want people, because marketing manager is quite a broad role, so it'll pull through things like, they're called super titles, where the terms like marketing manager also pull things like SEO manager, content manager, performance marketing manager, SEO manager, and lots of other different manager terms. So at the end, we'll show you how you can go through the marketing, the job titles, and then I'd recommend going and excluding them versus any of these sort of segments over here. I'll also show you how you can go and actually, before you launch this, see if there's any campaigns or companies who are going to be too big. So let's save this now, or save audience. And you want to not enable audience expansion, because we've tried this even with really tight ABM lists of just going after agencies. It still tried to add in the likes of Sky and much other bigger companies like Microsoft, which a lot of impressions were getting served to. So they'll enable you to waste your budget, is what you got to remember. Clever. So let's save this audience for now and just call it YouTube test audience. This keyboard is really small, and click on save so we can just use this later. It's very sort of a top line of how you'd go and target. Obviously, we haven't really drilled down into the firmographics that much in this, but just as an example. Now, as you can see here, we don't have all of the things live. So we have engagement, brand awareness, lead generation. So say, for example, to click on brand awareness, we can go and see now down here, we've got more. If we went to go click on lead gen, we'd have less. If we went to go click on, job applications, you'd have, even less. So you want to make sure that the format you're going after is within it. So let's keep it for engagement for now. You can go and do your UTMs. I like to set them at a global level and then do them at the ad level, but sometimes you go in here and create like go and create any nuances you want in here. Here's another tick box you want to make sure it's off. LinkedIn Audience Network, or otherwise known as LAN. Unless you're using connected TV ads, you don't really want this to be on, because it will go and place you in all the audience networks from LinkedIn outside the feed, and it doesn't give you a breakdown. So that could be anywhere from like MSN to, I don't know, Timbuktu. I don't know if that's a real website, but there we go. Right, we now have the image types or the ad formats we can go through, and I'm quickly going to show you each one of these ad types. So first and foremost, like we mentioned, we have thought leadership ads, which can either be done under video or single image ad. That is when we are getting promoted, your personal posts are getting promoted, but from the company. So you can see from session media here. We then have, that isn't its own creative type. So you'll never see, so you'll see in here that you won't see thought leadership ad. It's just done on a single or carousel. So you've got to decide whether it's coming from you or your founders or anyone else. I've done a whole video on thought leadership ads as well, which is in that playlist I'll mention at the end. Then it has static image ads, which is obviously a static image, which you can have a call to action for down here. Have a carousel ad, as you can see here. You can go and have up to 10 different cards. This one here's testimonials for social media. You can then have videos, example here. Again, very much like an image, but has up to 15 minutes worth of video. You can go through here, and this is a big SEO case study of ours that we went through and uploaded. We're gonna have text ads. Text ads, these images here, if you can see from this image from LinkedIn on the right-hand side, they only appear on desktop. Be able to see things like propel your job search fast, and then this little text here. The good thing about these, well, they're like secondary ads. No one really ever clicks on them, but you get lots of exposure for pretty much free because no one clicks on them, and it's only desktop, not mobile, which is again in itself quite a good thing. You then have the spotlight ads, which is when you probably see your face, which is custom from your profile, pull through to the logo of the company that's advertising to you. Again, secondary campaign. You also have the follow ads, are the go and follow a company page. Don't use these that much, but this is an example of how they would look. You then have the document ads, which are relatively new, which are really good if you do have assets you want people to download. Rather than doing carousel ads, it actually shows you an unlock the full document, and you can choose how many pages up here you want to see of the ad in itself, which allows people to kind of see the top line overview of the document, and then they can go and unlock the document. It actually has a much better click-through rate, and you can use it in remarketing audiences. You have conversation ads, which are like these ones here. For example, this is one I got from LinkedIn. So it was trying to sell me something, and you can click things like, okay, I want to improve targeting. And then it then speaks back to me, and I go, oh, thanks. It's going to have the 10 LinkedIn ad hacks. And then it goes through to a different one. So you actually create and customize your own conversations. This is the same as in-mail ads, but in-mail ads, it will just only be one click, and it will take you to a call to action button. So conversational ads like that. You now have event ads. These events, when you can do the native events within LinkedIn, and you can advertise these before, during, and after the event, which is super, super cool. You have the new ones, which are the article and the news ads. So if you do a newsletter through LinkedIn, which they're now pushing, you can advertise that, and people can obviously go and follow you straight away, which is cool. So that's the top line of all the different ad types. Again, it's really down to you and what you want to approve. Most of the time, it'll be probably single image or video in my case, and then obviously the secondary ads down here. In this case, let's just select video ad. And let's scroll down. So what you'll see here is always 150 as your standard budget. And again, it's up to you really what you want to spend for your monthly goals. But the next big important bit is all around bidding strategy. Now, bidding strategy is an interesting one because again, they're looking to push something called maximize delivery, and you think that like the likes of Google obviously are quite sophisticated with the automated bidding, but with maximize delivery, it pushes it as fast as it possibly can to your audience within your budget. So it's good to kind of get an idea of what that looks like if you want to get it going really quickly. But a lot of the time, you will be overpaying for clicks, because if I show you here, if we go on to manual bidding, down here it says we recommend bidding £3 and 2p. But the lowest bid they recommend is 1.89 to 663. Now, what you typically maximize delivery is they'll be bidding probably somewhere around 3 to 4 here. But what we do a lot, especially if you've got lower budgets, would be to go in around say £1.30 or even £1, and then putting it out there and monitoring your deliverability. Because what we found a lot is if you test it manually, you'll be able to get really, really good delivery below market rate, because one, there's several other factors. Also, LinkedIn, I think, chances it a bit with saying how much that you should charge to go. So people then are kind of scared into pushing it higher, and they burn through their budgets quicker. So all the people that are bidding lower then are able to pick up the spots that everyone else has burnt through. Also, relevancy score comes down to other factors. I'm not going to get 200 a day. And also just enable high like value clicks. Again, just try and keep it as manual as you can for now. So once you've done this and got your manual bidding and your video, you obviously can go up here and be like engagement, video, manual. So like if it's max delivery, we like to put it as max delivery just so we know what we've done there. And next, obviously, we want to create a conversion. Obviously quite a big point here. So you can create a conversion here, but let's go and save and exit so I can actually show you how you can do this before you even go into the actually creating a campaign. So if you go into measurements and conversion tracking, you can go and create a conversion here, or you can go in insights, manage sources, create conversions, insight tag, or you can do a conversion API. But let's just go into conversion tracking and go create conversion, insight tag, conversion. So you go in here, call it whatever you want, like, contact us form. You can select the category. So this one here would be request a quote. You can use dynamic values if you're going to do use a conversion API, which I've done a whole video on this as well, to really get in deep if you want to go into the, again, I'll link to the whole playlist, and you can insert a default value. So let's just select, use the same value and call it like, £1 for now. And then you can choose your clicks. So how many days will it count after someone's clicked on it? How many days will it count if someone saw it and it's like a view through conversion? And then you can choose whether it's going to be each campaign or last touch campaign, depending on how you want to structure the data. You can go on to website actions or manual actions. As I mentioned earlier, you can go on Google Tag Manager, your event specific tag. So you can go and copy. So obviously that's the tag we copied earlier. You could then go and copy this tag underneath it into Whitespace 2.0, because it allows you to go and copy event specific ads, which are really good if you're doing like Ajax form tracking or something. Again, I have a lot of Ajax form tracking on my site, YouTube channel, if you want to go and look at that as well. So the way I'd actually recommend, rather than using manual conversions, would actually be, obviously you can do it this way, where you go and say starts with or contains. If it's like a thanks page, you can go contains thanks, and you can then go and create that as a conversion when someone hits that page. The best way would probably be website actions in the short term if you want it, if you're a bit newer to this whole process. And if I go over onto another account, I set this one up last week, so hopefully there's data in there. So you can go here, and yes, you can see here we started getting stuff pulling through on this. So you can see here how many last days. So if someone goes through to the thanks page, so thanks, for example, I can see here, click this page, you can create a next step, and then next step, and then it will go and create this goal for you, and say anyone who goes through to that page, trigger it as a conversion. So that's the online tracking way. So that's cookie based and the third party. The next one is by using your conversion API. Again, not going to go too much into it because I created a whole video around LinkedIn ads conversion tracking. But that is when you can go and create your conversion and use your conversion API. This will be a dynamic value, which you'll be able to then, let's go on to qualified lead, for example here, go to default value 0, and then you can go and connect your source. So this source can either be through Zapier and uploading your CRM data or your lifecycle goal back into Zapier and uploading it. If you go into HubSpot and you have the right account or Salesforce, you can do this automatically and it will pull through, and it's super, super easy to do. But now you have these native integrations, or not native, but they're within LinkedIn ads now. So you can literally go and pull your information, CRM, and the actual value that you put it through. But if you do this, you need to make sure that you hold it out from the next section, because the next section is LinkedIn ads revenue analytics, which is very new. Now to do that, you need to go on to account settings, and go on to manage excess and go on to your business manager. Now, this one is a new account for us. And when you go on to revenue attribution, you can go and connect your page here. And then all it will do is, I'll pull up a screenshot here, so you'll be able to show all the companies you're getting impressions from, all the ones that are considering, all the ones that are lead, and all the ones that are closed. So even if people just see your ads, then convert 90 days later, it will start pulling in these revenue analytics. So using your conversion API and revenue analytics, you need to make sure that you remove the conversion API numbers from revenue analytics or vice versa. So you have your online conversion tracking, which is what I'd recommend you set up in 99% of cases. You have your conversion API, which is good, but again, it kind of leaves it down to just individual campaign tracking, which isn't always the best way of doing it. And then your revenue analytics, which kind of can overshoot the revenue analytics because it's literally everyone who's seen it. But it's really good to have that insight. So as soon as you start spending, I think in our experience, around $3,000 plus a month on this, you can start seeing all the information come flooding in, and it kind of gives you more touch points. So one is third party, first party, and then revenues analytics. There are other ways you can pull impressions directly into like your HubSpot account, which is really cool. And I've created a video on how you can do that for free using Zapier in that playlist I keep talking about. We talk about LinkedIn ads a lot, but I can't go into everything today because otherwise I think we're already quite far into this video, but it'll be a lot longer. Cool. So now we've created those conversions. You can then go and add them in this and then click and accept and then go on to next. So like I mentioned, the big pitfalls in this one are making sure those buttons are unchecked. You haven't got a massive audience. LinkedIn will always tell you to go over about 50,000. You can go as small as you need to go. We typically say you need about 1,000 audience size for every 10,000 you're going after. Again, linked in the other playlist. So now let's go and create an ad. Now in this case, let's go and, just for the sake of it, do a thought leadership ad. So you can see here, I'm automatically approved. If not, you can actually get someone to approve this ad for you. And you can see I've done a recent video this week, which both B2B marketing fails before it even starts. Or we can choose the ad that we want to go after, click it, and then go add to campaign. Obviously billing information needed. And then if you go into next, which is the really cool part, you can go and see the whole overview. So you can see the group name, the schedule, the campaign objective, the locations, who we're targeting. This is why it's important to look at who we're targeting, because as we mentioned, company size, software industries, and company size and any of these, they should all be in their own little box. So it should be software development. It should be then company size should be in its own little box with an and, not an or, and then job titles, which we did right. Make sure you check your campaigns before they go live. Job titles and everything else. LinkedIn's enabled, audience network is disabled, budget, bid type manual, not max, and then obviously all the conversions you've got, and then the ads. So then you can save and exit. And that's very simply how you create an ad. Now, what you can do is go into audiences, matched audiences. And what you can do here is you can go and create a matched audience. And you can either do an upload list, so you can upload the companies. So you go next, you can download a contact template for a company or a list, which means you can upload specific companies you want to target and create your own custom list. You can do people that have followed your company page in the last 90 days. So you can make sure you target them, or people that have visited your page, or people who have clicked a call to action. So you can make sure you can retarget these people that are potentially warm audiences. You can obviously people that have come through your conversion API, event specific. So people who mark themselves as attending an event, you can have always different options to then put them into their own audience to show them different messaging. Single image, you can go and say anyone who has interacted with one of our image ads or thought leadership ads in the last 90 whatever days. And you can see here an example of the numbers that would be associated with it in that time frame. Website, so anyone who has been on your website for the last 30 days, and you can then go and choose the pages that people have been on. Same with conversion ads, document ads, lead gen forms, and video. The really cool thing with video is you can select people who have watched a certain amount of your video. So if you want someone who's watched 50% of your video, you've got a 10-minute video, and then you want to put them into like an email conversation audience, that's a really good way of warming up these hot leads. Cool, so let's go look at the dashboard for one of our recent test campaigns. So if we go onto this first touch, and we can go and see here in the right hand side, we have different drop downs. So you can see here performance, and within performance, we have everything from impressions, clicks, click-through rate, top line performance data. We can see here delivery, and within that, the really interesting things, again, some of the same information, but the frequency. So how many times average has the person seen your ad per month over the set time frame? This is in the last 30 days. And the audience penetration is what percent of the audience has seen it. So only 31% of the audience has seen it. So, it's quite interesting to see what coverage you have of those accounts you're going after, especially if you're doing ABM. From an engagement side of things, it's really interesting because you can go and see the average dwell time. I really like these metrics because then you can go into these individual ads and be like, how long have people spent? So you can see here, these ones here, like 7 seconds. If we go into like video, for example, over last month, you can just go and see, so for example, this one here is 12 seconds. You can see outliers of the ones which have really been performing well. Same as if you go onto video, whilst on the video tab, you can go through and see what percentage of people have watched your videos. So you can go down here and see, okay, I've got a 3.16 conversion rate of this video that's only about 2 minutes long, but this video up here that's 15 minutes long, I've got a 11.33, which is brand new. And then you can look, over certain periods of time. So 0.13, but this video here that I advertised was like 15 minutes long. We like to do long form video amplification because over time it really compounds into people getting to know who you are and how you think about your brand. So someone's watched the whole of this video, for example. You're going to have bids and budgets, so you can go and change your bids and budgets within here directly in the feed, so how much you're spending a day on average and your daily bid. You can then look at everything else from documents, and you can create your own custom stats, and you can look at actual pipeline as well in the feed when you have your revenue analytics or conversion API set up. And you can also go to break down further. So if you go on performance and then you go on breakdown, you can see how many conversions you've got and what types of conversions when you have them all loaded. You can see the impression by device type. So you can see a mobile app here versus desktop. So you can see it's always more mobile app than desktop across the board. Placements, if you did the LAN, it would show you on LinkedIn versus LAN, but obviously, like I said, don't do LAN, and the event stage as well, which again needs revenue analytics to be set up. So all that stuff is really cool. Like I mentioned, if you want to go into professional demographics, we can go and see job function. And if you go into job title, we only really target, like I mentioned, a few of the marketing manager things, but it'll come through and also target social media manager, brand manager. We can go and exclude these job titles if we feel like they're overreaching, for example. Same you can see with company, and this is where it comes really cool, because if you go into company, we can see something really nice. Now, we used to have to use the API to see all this data. Now you can see it natively within the platform, which is super cool. So if we can see here, we can see organic impressions, so people that have been, companies that have been to your company page and seen impressions you had, and how many paid impressions, clicks, engagement, and then you break down what list they're in, etc. And you can go here and see engagement level. If you click on that, you can go and see the companies that have been very highly engaged. So what we like to say, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning around using intent signals, is you can go through here and say these companies here have been very highly engaged. Make sure they're in your ICP and your target audience market that you want to go after. And you can go and do any filters down here that you'd like. But I like to do the engagement levels, where I say all engagement levels, all the way from medium to very high, go and apply. And I can see there's 732 companies that are very highly engaged at the moment. And then you can go save the company list, and you can create a dynamic list, and then that will go and save everyone, drop in and out over the months who'd say highly engaged. So you can send them emails. You can create a list for your sales team to go and get in contact with because they've been engaging a lot with your content. You can also make it so you can ring fence off Google Ads campaigns which hit, and then you can see the list of companies that come through to your landing pages that haven't converted. There's so much you can do here. That reminds me also, we mentioned earlier, if you go into audiences, and we can see that saved audience we created, YouTube test audience. If we click on that before you even go live with your campaign, you can go and look at companies here, and you can go and say, okay, I created that audience. It was social media. I can see in there for some reason Fiverr. This was the moment that I realized it's got 480 members. That's already going to start wasting lots of my budget. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to cancel those people out, right? So a really good way of doing it is go and save audiences, edit them. You can go edit your company in here, and then you can automatically start negating some of these out, so you don't have to wait until and see the companies tab to be like, okay, I shouldn't be targeting all these companies, right? And as I promised, I'm going to give you a free bit of software. One of the annoying things you can't do on LinkedIn ads is we can't continually keep up, negativing out companies without going in to your audiences and then reapplying all your audiences, or doing separate lists and managing loads. So what we've done is we've created a software. in which you can go and a view like this, where you can go and click on each of them and then upload them to the same list so you can keep a global list. We're also going to be adding negative job titles and some bulk functions too, which will be very soon, and it's all going to be free. People watch these videos and connect with me on LinkedIn. So go over to LinkedIn, the link is in my YouTube bio. Go to that, give me a message, and I'll make sure you guys get the software as soon as it's live, which should hopefully be in a few weeks' time now. And as mentioned, throughout this video, I've mentioned lots of tangents around how you can find more information. So I'll link to the YouTube playlist up here, where you can go and see all the videos, everything from campaign strategy, all the way through to how much you should spend, how to get the cheapest clicks, how to create thought leadership ads in a full sort of guide, and how you can use it. So I hope you found that useful, guys. And any questions, please leave a comment, and speak to you very, very soon.